Hello everybody! Welcome to Agashi Review, where I review movies, dramas that you don't want to waste your time watching. I'll give you synopsis, shorts review along with my thoughts and opinions, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Now let's go into the review. Hello everybody, Agashi here today. So today I'm going to be doing a Chinese drama review. The drama is called My Little Happiness. And I've seen the guy in, this guy, he acted in one of the other dramas before, and it's time traveling stuff. So at first I was kind of like, who is this guy? And then when I was watching it, I was telling Agashi, I'm like, he could totally pass as Xiang's older brother. And by Xiang, I mean Xing Binbin from, Prince of Tennis. So I watched the first 2 episodes of it, and then I was actually like, I don't know, I wasn't expecting a lot because I didn't watch the trailer for it. It just came out, and I was just like, ooh, a new drama, so I watched it, but I actually really like it, and I do want to see how it turns out. So I am I'm letting it sit. It's probably up to episode 8 right now or 10, but I'm gonna let it sit longer because it is a total of 28 episodes, so I'll let it sit longer so I can watch it in one go. But today I'm going over the cast synopsis in the first 2 episodes with you guys. So as for our cast, we have Fair Xin as Chongrong, Jia Diteng as Wen Xiaoqing, and then Yulin Huang as Chu Chengcheng, Liang Li as Wen Rin, and Ting Yulin as Qin Chu, and Fu Weileng as Zhongshen, and many more other people. But as for our synopsis, Chongrong has a long dream of becoming a lawyer, but her mother is absolutely determined that her daughter will study finance abroad and have a good life and settle overseas. But she takes no for the answers, and she comes back to China to pursue her dream. After she comes back, she gets secretly involved in a legal law firm to become an intern without telling her mother, and her first case she has to take on is at a hospital where she ends up meeting her childhood friend Wen Xiaocheng, and now he is a surgeon, and she has to come and pretty much solve the case over there, and she has no recollection of who he is, but slowly working together, engaging in everything together, their friendships from the past childhood starts to come back up again, with a lot of many things involving and intertwining into their relationship. So, recap on the first 2 episodes. The drama starts us off with Chongrong coming back to China, and she's faking a call to her mother that she's doing well in Australia. She graduated with a Master of Finance and super intelligent, and she was offered a job in Australia, but she turned it all down to come back to China to join a law firm to become a lawyer. She arrives at the airport where her cousin Zhongshen is supposed to pick her up, but so she can make it to her internship. He doesn't show up, and he sent his boss instead. And as she's trying to find out who this boss is so can pick her up and take her, her grandfather suddenly collapses at the hospital, has an accident, and she helps the grandfather along come a very handsome man, and this man himself is a doctor, and he helps the grandfather, writes a note putting it into the grandfather's jacket, and he ends up getting the pin to Chongrong, and he leaves with his doctor to the hospital. She ends up not getting picked up, and she rushes to the intern by herself, making it just in time for her intern. And there's actually 4 other interns there with her, and only one will make it to becoming the lawyer at this law firm, as everybody is trying to avoid getting to be intern or taking on this case at Shenzhen Eugene Hospital, something like that. She actually ends up getting the intern over there, and she's going to take it, determined she will stay and become a lawyer. Rumor has it that previous interns did not make it past a month, and they drop out and they lose the intern spots. Well, she doesn't care, and she's determined to do it. So she's finally settled in and had her new place, and heads out to catch up with her friend Chu Chengcheng, and we learn that her cousin Zhongzhen's boss is actually Wen Xiaoqing, and he's a neurosurgeon doctor, one of the best, and he actually didn't pick up the cousin at the airport. He did go, but he was the doctor that helped the grandfather, and he left. So she didn't know that. And then as her Chongrong and her friend is hanging out, they bump into Wen Xiaoqing where they're at a convenience store, and his dog scared them. They dropped their food, and he said that he will pay for them. so handsome, her friend was like, ask for his WeChat. It's like their social media contact, stuff like that, and he to pay back what he owes them. And then he's like, don't worry, I have cash. And her friend's like, who carries cash nowadays? That's like hilarious because it's so true. He pays them, and you know, they move along, go away. She was just like, oh my gosh, you know, I was trying to get his WeChat because he's so handsome, but they didn't get that. The next day, it's actually Chongrong's first day at the hospital, and she goes to meet Wei Xiaoqing, and she needs him to resolve a case as her first task she has to complete. He fools her around all day, and she doesn't get nothing done, and she's really upset, and she's just like, oh, frustrated with him. But she learns that he's the most handsome doctor. Many nurses liked him, and he's actually a really good person. He's just the way he is because a lot of his patients don't know anything, and he knows what's best for them. So basically, if they argue with him, basically, you know, they just want the easy out, or they just want this and this done when it takes time. So that's that. And so she's like, I have to find him to apologize and work with him to get this case done. And then we move along to see Win Xiaocheng's cousin, who talks to him about how he never wants to go on date or anything because he's still waiting for one person. We flash back to seeing him as a young kid, and there's a little girl who has won his heart when he was young and making a promise that she will return back the next term for school. So she had to leave to go stay with her grandma, and she's promising that she will come back and she shouldn't cry because apparently she was his supportive, there to support him a lot in school as their classmates and everything like that. And she's going to be leaving, but she will come back, and she never did. Years has gone by, and he's constantly visiting this one particular place where it has this very big tree where they made their promise, and he's never got to she has never shown up, and he's never got a chance to tell her his name. So he knows her name, but she doesn't know his, and she doesn't know anything. He's been waiting all these years for her. Eventually, you know, he's waiting there, you know, and everybody sees him as that, you know, he's like the #1 neurosurgeon doctor, but he doesn't fall in love. He doesn't want to be with anyone because he's still waiting for his first love. And Chorong eventually shows up at the same place where she says she wants to get to know him better, complete her intern, and actually get along with him. And she finally introduces herself. She never introduced herself in the beginning when they first met. They didn't get along, and plus he lied to her that he wasn't Dr. Wei Xiaoxing. And so he learns her name, and that triggers for him because the little girl's name was Chongrong, and she fell on her head, and she has a scar. And it's like first time where he removes her bang and sees that she has the same scar, and he's happy that she's finally back. He gives her a hug, but she's confused. She's all like, I guess this is how you greet people, but okay, whatever, you know. And so now he knows that she's a little girl, but she doesn't remember anything, and he wants to trigger those memories and bring it back to her. It's not that she lost those memories, she's just been so long and she just doesn't remember anymore. So he's happy to have her now, and he wants to keep her around. And we learn that her apartment that she's renting, he's actually the landlord of it. So he wants, he makes her a deal, if she wants to settle cases at the hospital, she's gonna have to do it on his term. And slowly he tries to bring back that he's the little boy, repeating certain things that happen. And obviously we do see it, that she's his happiness and she's his first love. And he's just, after all these years, he's waiting on her, and he's still heads over heels in love with her, and he just wants to be with her. And so, but she doesn't know anything, and he's gonna have to trigger all of that and bring it all back to her and remind her that he's the little boy that she helped and all these things like that, and he's been waiting for her. So that was the recap of the first 2 episodes. I actually really like it. I've seen clips of it, and I really do look forward to see what's gonna happen. And it's like, oh my gosh, their height difference is so like, oh, it's like a Love So Beautiful where Hong Yi-tin is so tall. It's literally like that. Like, he's so tall and she's so tiny, and it's like when she talks to him, she has to like look up, and you're just like, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he didn't look that tall in his other drama that I watched. I'm guessing because the girl was a little bit taller, you know, that's probably why it didn't look so off balance or bad. But I've never seen this guy act in modern. I've seen him done like historical fantasy back then only, so it was actually very like, that's why I didn't recognize him in the first place. But I do look forward to see what's gonna happen. And obviously to me, I'm like, yeah, I get it. She was a little girl who helped him, but you know, like, wow, like, how is he going to express all his love, and how is he going to get her to fall in love with him again, and explain all these things in the past, and pretty much get into her story of why she had to leave. You know, it kind of wasn't, to me, it wasn't clear why she had to leave, and why is it that she never came back. I'm guessing something happened, and then they took her abroad, and that's why she never came back, and why he didn't even introduce his name to her when they've known each other for quite a while as kids, you know, and she didn't know his name. So really looking forward to see some of that open up in the past and stuff like that, and to see how this love relationship is going to turn out between them. But that's it for today's drama review, and I will see you guys next time.